Hey, y'all, Patrick James, Cold Dead Hands, Black Coffee Perspectives, and now into the fray.
Jon Double Tap Britain, Midnight Munchies, Food for Thought, Cold Dead Hands, and into the fray. And what are we going into the fray today?
We are going to talk about mass exodus from social media to other social media platforms because of free speech, free thought, free this, free that. Yes, we're on Parler.
Yep.
We've been on Parler at CDH2A because, as it may seem, just mere days before we created a CDH Cold Dead Hands account, somebody claimed Cold Dead Hands. So
on Parler.
Yeah, go figure that. Amazing, huh? So, yeah, we didn't get that. So if Dan Bongino, yeah, he's not listening. But if he were listening...
Or if you know Dan Bongino.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get the social media moniker that we developed over other social media platforms for the last 8 or 9 years. That would be cool on your platform. But you know what? If not, it is what it is.
But...
So what is all this mass exodus about?
Of course, you know, everybody's familiar with the complaints of censorship on social media. I mean,
yeah.
Whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I mean, we did used to have another YouTube channel until it got shut down.
Yeah, we were censored out of it.
You know, so everybody knows that. And until recently, with the rise of the Parlers and the MeWe's and, you know, a few others out there, that there was never really an option to go elsewhere. I mean, the options were there. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know how long MeWe's been around. I know it's been around at least for a few years.
Yeah, because we've had a MeWe account for a long time.
But
haven't used it.
The problem with it was all the people are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So the other platforms, in order to become viable, had to start getting populated. Well, Parler was one of the first ones to blow up. They got some exposure on Fox News, and people were like, oh, hey, finally, we have another option. And they started heading over there. And with the election and the lead up to the election and social media going just absolutely totalitarian with the fact-checking and the disclaimers and everything else, people were like, okay, I'm done. I'm out. I've got an option now. I'll go over here. I'll set up an account. I'll start finding friends and finding people to follow, and we're off to the races. Now, not a big fan of Parler. I mean, okay, Parler is a Twitter alternative. I absolutely detest Twitter. I have an account. I tweet like once or twice a year and can't stand it.
No, we had a Twitter account, but I mean...
Parler, I mean, I like it better than Twitter, but it's not Facebook. It's a Twitter alternative. You know, it's got...
We're a little long-winded in our writing, long-winded in our videos, long-winded in a lot of things. If you haven't noticed already, those type of platforms are not well suited to what we do. They're just not.
Yeah, I mean, Parler has a higher character count than Twitter. You know, Twitter, you're 280, and I think Parler, you go up to 1,000 characters. So
1,000 characters? My current article is like 3,200 words at the moment. I know I still have to go back and pare it down. I understand that. But it's at 3,200, and most of my articles run about 2,000 to 2,500. John's are a little more concise. Mine are a little bit more, I don't know, flowy.
Rabbit traily.
That could be too. Rabbit traily is probably, I definitely go off on tangents. There's no doubt I try to pare those out of it, but sometimes it doesn't happen.
But I mean, the big issue here is there a mass exodus from Facebook, Twitter at all?
Listen, man, I get it. fraud book sucks. It does. Insta gratification page or gram or whatever, that kind of sucks too, because it's all about instant gratification. It's a quick video. It's this or that.
It's looking at the pictures.
Yeah, it's, hey, look what I cooked today. Look at the cool cigars and the scotch that I'm drinking.
Look at the cool new gun I got, or look at this cool sunset at some place that I stole off another website.
Look at the
stuck up here and said I was there.
Look at the cute little blonde with the tig bitties holding a black rifle. Yeah, that's what Instagram's about. And hey, I'm not complaining about tig bitties. By any stretch of the imagination, I'm a dude and I like them, but it's not a page that it's not something I'm gonna actually just go to. One, because I have a wife who...
Well, you don't have to follow the tig bitties on Instagram.
No, but they pop up every time I flip it on. And that could be because the guy who runs the Instagram often converses with said advertisers.
Exactly.
Because they do advertise to a certain demographic. We get it. And there are a lot of them who are amazing gun girls.
Yeah, not gun bunnies.
Not gun bunnies.
Gun girls.
And we've never really associated with the gun bunnies, maybe briefly in the very beginning stages of what we do. But
well, I mean, even when we tried to do our calendar, we stuck to actual gun girls.
We did, because y'all called us out on gun bunnies, and so, hey, we understood right away that you wanted real gun girls. So we brought that to you through our calendars.
But
one of these days
this
we'll
is what we
break
call
one
a
out.
tangent.
Well, we're talking about social media. We're talking about these platforms that we've used
For almost 10 years.
to create echo chambers, pages,
And that's what it comes down to.
preaching to the choir.
I was on Parler, saw Larry the Cable Guy. He's on Parler. Get her done, Larry.
Get her done.
And he was calling out CNN for their anchors, saying that alternative platforms like Parler are a quote-unquote threat to democracy. And, I mean...
Probably is to democracy, but it has nothing to do with America.
It was Larry the Cable Guy. So I'm like, okay, I got to go verify this. I mean, he's a comedian. Got to be sure.
Right.
And sure enough, on CNN, they were talking about Parler, and they were talking about the mass exodus. All these conservatives are supposedly leaving Facebook and Twitter, going to Parler. And the host was like, yes, it's a danger to America. It's a threat to democracy, because they're basically in these echo chambers being fed a quote-unquote diet of lies.
Diet of lies.
Because if you're actually having free speech, free exchange of ideas, whether that's factual or opinion, there's information changing, and there's no overlord saying, sorry, the government or mainstream media disagrees with what you just said there, so we're going to have to slap a fact check on that and say, okay, we're not going to let too many people see that because we disagree with what you said. You don't get that on Parler. You don't get that on MeWe. Now, you also don't get curated content. It's pretty much live feed. If you're on, when somebody posts, you see it, or you get the notification when you get back on, you see it. But most of the stuff just goes through the feed with or without you. So now, and again,
It's different.
It's an early platform. It'll grow into something. Will it grow into a true alternative to Twitter? Maybe.
Yeah.
Will it eventually come down to Facebook and Twitter or the liberal, progressive, democratic, socialist, Marxists, and Parler, MeWe, and all those are the conservative, constitutionalist Trumpsters. You know, I mean, because here's the deal.
I don't know, man.
Their biggest complaint is that people are moving to this echo chamber. You know what? Facebook and Twitter are echo chambers.
They are.
You know, you choose who you follow on Twitter or Facebook. So, are you going to follow people who agree with you? Or are you going to follow people who you disagree with? Now, I follow a bunch of people I disagree with just so I can give them a hard time.
Yeah.
But most people don't want the conflict. I thrive on the conflict.
We wouldn't be here if we didn't. I don't as much as you do, but I know that the truths that we speak about the founders, the Constitution, natural rights, everybody needs to hear those. Mm-hmm. Those are truths. They're absolute. The truths of my master and what my master brought to this world, the liberty and freedom that our founders so eloquently put into a self-governing body for us to protect those natural rights. Those are truths. They're absolutes. And there's a lot of people who need to hear them. Are we getting the same traffic we got 4 years ago?
No, hell no.
No, not by a damn sight. In fact, we reached about 160 million people the week of the 2000 election.
2016 election.
2000. What did I say?
2000. That was Bush v. Gore.
Yeah, and we didn't reach anybody there.
No.
In 2016, we reached 160 million. This last election here, 2020, we probably reached about 3 or 4 million. Maybe a few more.
No, I think we actually got up into like the 13, 14 range.
So yeah,
briefly.
We've certainly been censored.
Oh yeah, they've cut our reach 75 to 90%.
Yep.
Even though we have a lot more followers in 2020 than we had in 2016.
Oh, by a damn sight. But you know, are we gonna just jump platform and leave it all behind because they're fact checking everything we put out?
Well, and that's I said in a post the other day, you know, the complaint about these other medias is they're turning into echo chambers for conservatives. You know,
that's horrible.
But your choice really comes down to this, because Facebook, Twitter, and all those, they force you to be an echo chamber. Facebook literally told us when our page quality was down, they said we had too many negative comments, you need to ban them. And I was like, you know, we built our page on engaging with people with differing opinions in debate. And Facebook was like, no, you don't want debate. You want everybody agreeing with you and giving you likes and loves and hugs and kisses. You don't want any angry faces. You don't want any negative comments, because everybody is on Facebook to be happy and pet unicorns and look at rainbows.
Yeah, I think they forgot that the name of our page was Cold Dead Hands and not the Rainbows and Unicorn Room.
So, I mean, you literally have a choice of going to an echo chamber by choice, and that's assuming it is an echo chamber, or staying where you're at with the big tech Facebooks and Twitters and being forced into an echo chamber, or risk losing everything you've built and invested on that platform. So, I mean, we're still on Facebook. We're going to stay there as long as we're allowed. And, you know, we'll fight tooth and nail because we're message driven. And in order to spread a message, you need people to spread the message to. You know, if I want to preach to the choir, I'll go to church and preach to the choir. If I want to reach as many Americans as possible with a message that they may or may not have ever heard before, then I have to be where those people are.
Yep.
Now, hopefully, one day these other platforms will grow up to where they're legitimately competitive and have a legitimate fan base and following that makes them worth putting our full effort into them like we have into Facebook over the last 10 years or 9 years. But until that point, we have to stay where we're at, stay the course.
We're going to stay the course. I'm into the fray, man.
Stay into the fray, stay in the fight.
Yeah. But we
have our contingency plan.
We've hedged our bets. We've got the accounts. We're set up there. We're posting there.
Now, I know there are a lot of people who are legitimately so done that they are deleting their accounts and going all in with these new platforms.
Yep.
More power to you.
That's cool.
We're there for you there too.
Yep.
But there's a lot of people that have a lot invested that aren't ready to do that.
Well, whether they're ready to do that or not, I'm going down with the ship, so they're going to have to sink my ship before I get off on a lifeboat. No, I won't go down with it. I hope, anyways. But I'm going to be the last guy on board. That's for certain. So I'll endorse and support anybody who decides they want to jump. That's fine.
Yep. And if you want to stay and fight, we got your 6.
We're right here. We're fighting. We're going to continue fighting for as long as we can because that's what we do.
And we will bring content to these new platforms so that you're not lost in the wilderness.
Yeah. We're
there for you. We're there for you there too.
Yep. Just like we are on YouTube with Into the Fray.
Or on Instagram.
Yep. So, check us out. Check out the store. The store at colddeadhands.us. Our Facebook page if you're still on Facebook. Our parlor at CDH2A since we couldn't get Cold Dead Hands.
Somebody beat us to it.
Somebody beat us to that. That kind of sucks after 8 years of developing out something specific. I know. Everybody says we stole it from the NRA, but technically the NRA stole it from somebody. A small gun shop in Montana, by the way, in 1973 came up with that phrase, but just to clear the air of that. Anyways, we appreciate you following along with our rambling little video today. We had a couple of them as we start to get back into the fray after dealing with all of our election results and all of the social media regarding the election.
Oh,
and all of the processing.
Before we close this out, for those of you watching who do intend to abandon Facebook once and for all, there's a page that Parler put together. It's called erasebook.info. It tells you how to save all your content that you've put on Facebook over the years and how to get rid of everything you possibly can, because even after you delete your account, they keep your information for a certain time period and continue to monetize it.
Yep, so don't leave them anything behind. As good conservationists, as good stewards of our nature, we know not to leave anything behind. So do the same thing if you're getting off of the platform. Don't leave anything behind.
Erasebook.info.
So, hey, we appreciate you following along. I know sometimes we get off tangent, but there's one defining fact throughout this whole thing.
And what's that, Pat?
If you want peace,
prepare for war.
Later, guys.